Christmas 1935 is told by my father, Marvin Jones. Pop was a coal miner in Fayette County, West Virginia. The country was still in the grips of the Great Depression. I was 7 years old, the youngest of 8 children and the only boy. My older sister Thelma was 17 and suffering from tuberculosis. And although no one spoke of it, we all knew that this Christmas could be her last. Pop did everything he could to provide for us. He worked in the mines, farmed small plots of ground in the mountains, kept bees, sold honey, hunted wild game, and trapped and sold fur. The newest thing we had was the outhouse built by the WPA under President Roosevelt. A few days before Christmas, Pop came home with a wooden crate he'd picked up at the post office. The whole family was wide-eyed and overflowing with anticipation as he placed it on the kitchen table. What on earth could be in it? I ran to the toolbox on the back porch to get a claw hammer to open it. Pop took it, laid it aside, and said, "Not yet, son." He told me to go to the shed and get the saw. I ran with unusual speed and brought the 5-foot-long 2-handled crosscut saw we used to cut washwood and listened as Pop said, "We've got to go cut a post." Before I could ask any questions, we were on our way, past the old dog box and bee stands. Stepping between strands of barbed wire, we walked up the holler past Eddie Kincaid's place. Only a few years before, the mountains were filled with chestnut trees, but a great blight was killing them off at an alarming rate. It didn't take long to find one that would suit our needs, which I still didn't understand. We each grabbed a handle on opposite ends of the old saw and cut out a straight section of a downed tree. It was pretty heavy, but with a rope, Pop dragged it down the hill as I followed, carrying the saw. Out in the yard near the corner of the raspberry patch, Pop wrestled the post into a hole he'd dug a few days earlier. I helped him pack dirt around it, and then was instructed to go get a roll of wire from the shed when I put the saw away. I thought this was a strange time to be putting up a clothesline for Ma. Ignored questions ran from my lips as Pop continued to work on stringing the wire from the top of the post to a nail outside of Thelma's bedroom window. He dusted his hands together, smiled a little, and jerked his head for me to follow him inside. Pop took the hammer and pried open the crate. He pulled away some packing material and stepped back so we could all see the knobs and big shiny dial of a brand-new Sears and Roebuck Silvertone radio. We could not believe that he had scraped together enough money to give our family such an extravagant gift at Christmas time. Pop then gently carried the radio to a small table in the lower room near Thelma's bed. Before he plugged it in, he opened the window just enough to reach the wire he'd hung on the nail outside, pulled it through the opening, then closed the window. In those days, radios needed a long antenna to pick up signals from stations in big cities like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Nashville, and Atlanta. After fastening the antenna wire to a screw on the back and plugging the radio in, Pop turned one of the knobs on the front. We heard a click, and nothing else. He said the tubes had to warm up before it would work. So we waited for what seemed an eternity, and finally heard a buzz and some static. Pop slowly worked the dial, and as the needle crossed the numbers in the pale amber light, we heard it. Faint at first, but with a little adjusting, my favorite Christmas carol came on. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. As I looked up from the glowing dial on that brand new radio and out the window, I saw that snow was gently starting to fall. I still look back to that night as one of the fondest memories of my entire life. It was indeed Thelma's last Christmas. The next August, she went to be with the angels.